If you'd like to see more of our videos, hit the subscribe button to stay on top of the market news. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today's June 15, 2020, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the week, the Dow Jones continues to tumble further down, almost 600 points in pre-market trading. But looking at the events of there's no economic event scheduled for today, but as the week cooks on, we've got some events happening. But looking at the markets, we're watching in terms of the currencies, US dollar strengthening across the board as the Dow Jones continues to tumble. Now, that's brought down also the NASDAQ, affecting all the markets. Now, looking at the commodities, gold trading steady in light of this situation, while oil trickles down and sells off as well. And lastly, looking at the stocks, they remain weak across the board. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to start here with the Euro USD at a weekly chart, and pretty much you could see here that this is pretty much hitting this resistance level last week and then retracing down to 112.32-ish right now. So this happens to be, the euro happens to be the stronger versus the US dollar, as we'll go down the list. When we look at the GBP USD, we see a further decline here to 124.60-ish level. Now looking at a daily chart, just to give us a perspective, we capitulated here at this 127, and we look like if we can break this 124, then we'll hit this 121 moving into today's trading session. So something to consider. Looking now at the Canadian dollar, getting weaker versus the USD at 136. We had that last week. And lastly, looking at the USD ZAR, getting a lot weaker versus the dollar and capitulating at that 1640-ish level into that 1732-ish level. So a big about face for the US dollar as it's getting stronger while the Dow Jones is getting weaker. Now looking at the haven assets like gold, I see it a little bit retracing here. Okay, so there's a significant resistance at this 1740-ish level. I don't think that we'll break much further down, but you want to keep this on the radar. Now, I don't see an entry point right here because we are in the middle of our two upper and lower limit. We're about the upper end of that middle limit, so I don't see a big entry level here, but it's something you want to keep on your radar, especially if the Dow Jones continues to sell off. Now looking at oil as well, retracing to $34.80-ish right here as this tumbled from last week from $40 down to $34. And nice little retracement there. Now looking at the Dow Jones, we're looking at trade at 24,500. That's over 3,000 points since last Wednesday that it's retraced. Unbelievable retracement just less than a week ago. And that's something to consider. Now, we are hitting a little bit of a resistance-ish level here to, a support-ish area here, right here, as this was previous resistance and this would be subsequent support. So I do expect a bounce, but if we do not bounce, we could definitely hit back this 23-ish area and close that gap. Okay, so something to consider. I'm not saying that we're going to hit this 22,000 or 23,000 anytime soon, but something to consider and looking at today. Now, looking at this NASDAQ, it also followed suit. Okay, look at that nosedive, going from 10,100-ish level down to 9,400-ish level. Now, this was the one that was really strong. Now, as we look at the stocks, they're still relatively strong. If we look at Apple, 339, which is above its 325-ish level. Now, people would be looking to book their profits at this area, especially since we don't know how the economy is going to come back, how this second wave or third wave or fourth wave to this coronavirus is going to actually play out, and when will we have a vaccine for this coronavirus and how that's all going to come out. So there's significant indecisiveness and fog in the market still as to what's going to happen with this coronavirus, and as such the markets are still reeling from it, even though we had this massive push upwards and now we're having that correctional move. So it's like everybody's waking up and realizing, hey, listen, we overbought, let's take a reassessment of where we're holding right now. And looking at Amazon, also trading down to 25.47, as it's still also above its resistance-ish level. Now looking at JP Morgan, which has been one of the more weaker stocks, okay, it's trading at $100, and steady there. Okay, so if we don't hold this level today and we see ourselves breaking down, we can continue breaking down, but I think we're going to hit some choppiness. I think there's going to be some resistance to us breaking further down, especially since most of the stocks have been relatively strong in the tech sector. Okay, so that's going to be our resistance from falling further down. But something to consider as we go into this week, it's relatively a quiet week because we are hitting the real heart of the summer of trading. So despite the fact that we're in coronavirus kind of environment, we are hitting the summer months. So something to consider if we'll take a break for the next couple of months in terms of volume as volume recedes because we are in the summer months. Okay, so something to consider going into this week. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.